what it is, what it was, and what it will be.
Podcast.
Oh,
Well, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We're getting straight up into it, guys. This is the Kentucky recap show. Boy, what a game that was, Keon.
absolutely.
Let's do this. First things first, make sure if you're watching, smash that like button, follow, subscribe if you're not already. There's a lot of y'all that don't. Make sure you do that because that's going to help the show, help the show for free, right? And if you're listening, give us a rate and review. Simple enough. Keon, there's a lot to get to talking about. So let's do this. What are your takeaways from this game? What's your main takeaway from this game?
I mean, thank you to the defense, right? I mean, it came up crucial when we needed it. There's a lot of look. We're at a bye week, right? There's a lot of things we need to work on to get better.
I think that was obvious after that game.
Yeah. Sloppy game. Wasn't pretty. We found ways to win. Just like Kirby said, the team was resilient. I do real quickly would just like to take the time to say a quick shout out to Julian Humphrey. Julian Humphrey, you have balled the fuck out. And amongst other things, you have rightfully earned that cornerback position. Because, dude, I'm talking like crucial downs. You see this guy coming down crashing. And I mean, when they say they going to throw the whole kitchen sink, I mean, we damn near watched him fly through a motherfucker's chest. Okay. And that is the type of cause to action we love to see. So shout outs to Julian Humphrey. You had a phenomenal game. You came up big when we needed you. And I'm really happy for you. Shout outs to you. The Texas kid, at the end of the day. Well, yeah.
If you're doing shout outs, give me Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. We're going to say, listen, there's an obvious name that we have left out at this point. Trust me, we're going to talk about it. I promise you.
Yeah.
But shout out to Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Played his ass off. 2, played a ton of snaps.
A lot. Big man, a lot of minutes. Okay. So definitely shout outs to TID. Shout outs to Julio. Shout outs to Julio for going out there and cooking. Because, I mean, honestly, dude, with everything that's recently happened, and I'm not really even trying to get too far into it, but you saw him come alive during that game and truly make that position his. So shout outs to him, young bull off the island, man.
And I'm going to do it. We may not want to do this, but I have to give absolute respect to Kentucky and their preparation.
Man.
That's arguably the best defensive, or I would say best game plan I've seen defensively against us in what feels like forever. Since Bama, I would say. Since Bama, for sure.
Honestly.
I thought they played an excellent game. They schemed everything up. They knew what we were doing. Now, at the same time, we're going to have to talk about this in just a second, but I do have to give shout out to Kentucky. You fooled me. So I'm coming on here to eat my crow about that because I was one of the main contributors of this belt to ass movement this past week. And that was not the case. That was absolutely not the case. 13-12 win is not a belt to ass moment for those that have any miscommunicate or any confusion about what belt to ass means. Just because you beat somebody by 1 point, that ain't belt to ass, folks. All right, that's just not it. Let's do this, Keon. Let's do the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, let's start off with the good. I want to get the vibes right for this show. All right, let's do that. So the good. All right, let's break off into the good. The good, no touchdowns given up.
Yes.
Again.
Still.
Another one. I thought that's a big deal. I thought that's a really big deal.
It is. It is. Definitely would like to say that the strength and the willingness of this team is really what stood out to me. Resilience. I say it very much so. It's not about how many times you can punch, how many times can you get punched and continue to move forward. We definitely got punched in our shit this past Saturday. But to see those guys out there and execute and find a way to win, because not people think, you're looking at 42 consecutive conference wins.
Regular season, right?
Regular season conference
For,
wins.
for clarification.
Yeah, 42 consecutive regular season conference wins. Those All of those games wasn't blowouts. Okay. Some of those games was kind of like what we just saw. You got to find a way to win. You got to scrape and claw and get it done. The bad. All right.
Hold on. We still ain't done with the good, sir.
Okay. All
But
right.
there's Jalen
There's still
Walker.
Yeah,
Jalen motherfucking Walker.
Hey, look, Jay Walk Dog came in a clutch. Okay.
Dude,
Wow.
I want you to understand this. If excuse me, if there's any representation or any clear evidence as to why you should never look at the stat sheet, 8 quarterback pressures are not going to be on the stat sheet.
Right.
2 tackles will. No,
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? He was an absolute game changer on defense, but it will never go down in the stat book.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. They robbed my man. He should have. He should have had 3. He should have had 3. He should have had 3 sacks. Y'all know y'all wrong. Roughing the passer. Come on, bro.
Save that for a minute because it's gonna get there. I promise you. I guarantee it. I'm just here to tell you, man. Jalen Walker played his ass off, and if there's any questioning at this point as to how you get him on the field, I don't care. You find a fucking way. Okay, you just find a fucking way. He's too good to not be on the field. Period. Just too good. I'll be obviously talked about Julian Humphrey. We talked about Terry Nagum Dawkins, Trevor Etienne, baby. Man's been a home run so far because he made something out of nothing Saturday. Again, just gonna let that be known. Without him, I don't know what we do running game because he made the most out of it. It wasn't much, but he made the most out of it. I will leave that there. Let's read some comments real fast before we break over to the bad and the ugly. Dogman says, "What's up, DGD? What's going on, my man?" High Tough says, "Great shout out, Keon. Julian did play his best game." Dogman says, "Sloppy game, 1-1, but hell, I'll take 12 to 14 more then. My heart might not let me, but regardless." Rude says that game was so close it made me bark. Almost maybe a few howls at them refs. Boy, I don't know if that was barking at me. To me, that was not barking. I was sitting there watching that game, and I was like, this is going to be interesting. And, honestly, I've gotten into this feel of just watching the games more analytically, and it's creeping me out so far this season. 2 weeks from now, not so much. I know I'm going to be just on edge. I'm going to be on edge. Keon, did you have anybody reach out to you, seeing if you were okay?
Yeah, no. I had a couple of Georgia fans reach out. Had a couple of Bama fans reach out. Had a couple of Clemson, Ohio State. Different fan bases that I speak with on a daily, all across the college football landscape. Like, hey man, you okay? That was a close one, but yeah, man. That was high intensity, high stress. I love it. I hate it, but I love it. Okay, I love the fact that we were able to pull out the win. But Jesus,
yep, I think that might be the last of the good for now. Right, we won. Listen, Sunday, right? Sunday morning, even till now, you would think we lost the damn game. You would think we lost the game. Ironically, the worst 3 outputs in 5 years have been 2020, 2022, 2024, all at Kentucky.
Yep.
Now, to this, I got to ask you this. I genuinely don't understand why it's so hard for Georgia to play at Kentucky. Theoretically, this should not be a hard place to play.
No.
But for some reason, it's becoming excruciatingly difficult to watch play at Kentucky. I don't understand it. I don't. It makes no sense to me. But welcome to the world of college football? Question mark.
Right.
I guess. I'll say this. I want to give a shout out to, before we move to the bad again, and I know we've been kind of postponing this. Shout out to Brock Vandergriff. Buddy played a game.
Man,
I thought he played really good.
Put it all together.
Obviously, we didn't expect their offense to do a ton, right? But they sustained drives. And that matters. Which kind of leads us into the bad. Execution, Keon. Man. I think to me, this may be one of the worst execution or worst games in regards to execution I've seen in the past 2 years. Probably more, maybe even more. Again, credit to Kentucky for making it difficult and not letting us get into a rhythm early. But there were so many miscues. It's unreal. You had Carson Beck not hitting on his shots. You had
some crucial drops. Not gonna lie, they were blocking. Dude, look. Xavier Trust. What do you like? And then you're one of the older guys there in that unit, so it kind of just makes me wonder, right? I'm seeing you get defeated and damn near down on one knee off of a basic swim move. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. You play like this throughout the stretch of the season, Carson Beck is gonna get killed. And I'm not speaking that into existence, bro, but the position he plays on this offensive line is very crucial. In games like that versus teams with faster defensive lines, he's gonna get our quarterback killed. I'm saying this because I watch my quarterback on Sundays get murdered like this. I've watched him tear ACLs like this.
That's right. You are a joke.
Oh, yeah, no. Also, we are the second team in NFL history to score 3 touchdowns while not allowing the opposing team to score a single touchdown and lose. Second team in NFL history.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Let me run that back for you and the audience. The New York Giants scored 3 touchdowns. They didn't allow the opposing team, the Washington Commanders, to score any touchdowns. They are the second team in NFL history to lose a game like that. It was nothing but field goals.
Y'all are destined for the bottom. Jesus.
No.
I want to bring it back. I do want to bring it back to Georgia, obviously. Offensive line blocking has got to get better. It just felt off to me. But the problem is I saw it slightly against Tennessee Tech too, and now it's starting to concern me a little bit. We thought Trust was going to be better, and I'm not sitting here. I'm not trying to bash anybody, right? I'm not trying to do that.
We just got to see improvement, bro. Because I'm telling you, I have watched my NFL quarterback be injured off for a whole season because of a right tackle not being good and not securing his block, and that edge rusher swim underneath him and dive right at the quarter, puts his face mask in the quarterback's kneecap, and whole season is trashed.
Well, I'm gonna look at Ernest Green as well. I thought Ernest Green had several miscues, and I started to notice it in the Tennessee Tech game, but now you're starting to see it against Kentucky too, and it's starting to concern me a little bit. You've got the bye week, so it's something that you've got to get squared away. Ernest Green is going to play on Sundays, but he's got to do it by winning with he's got to be technically sound if he's trying to play tackle. You're not doing that right now, and it showed Saturday night. It was apparent. I've never seen. You can tell when defensive linemen are just blowing by and getting in. Carson Beck had no time to get comfortable. There was
100%.
Now, I will say this. Now, this is partially bad, but it was a good until it happened. Tate Ratledge going down. Tate Ratledge was playing his ass off. He was moving. He was moving folks.
Rest up, Tate.
Sure. Obviously that's sprained MCL, sprained ankle or knee or something like that. And then looking maybe around Florida, getting him back maybe. It's not like he just went tightrope surgery on it. So I think in that regard, obviously Michael Morris now, which leads me to Daniel Calhoun. Get ready. Right. You're going to be rotating in a lot more, and I'm okay with that, but you got to be ready. Now that you've got a bye week, the thing is you're looking at Bama on the back end of that bye week, and obviously, as if y'all stick around as we get ready for this, through the season, you'll be here when we're talking Bama. We're not going to do it just now, but you have that brewing on the back end of this bye week, and you've got to get acclimated into a full starting role. I feel confident with him, but at the same time, when it comes to the tackle spots, in my opinion, I want Monroe Frilling. I really do. Whether it be left tackle or right tackle, I think he earned, in my opinion, his way onto the field. And I think you need him there. I don't know what you do, who you maneuver around, but I think he needs to be playing more at tackle. I really do.
I definitely agree with you there.
I don't like, especially at right tackle, I need somebody that's not gonna get beat by fundamentals. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to shit on any specific player, but it's safe to say that you can get criticized, right? I'm glad Truss came back. That's the senior leadership that you need. But at the same time, we're here to win ball games. That's my mindset. And 100%. if I see a deficiency, I got to call it out. That's just what we do. I'm not going to sit here and be that guy, and just completely shit on a kid. I'm not going to do that. But I will say how I feel. I feel like we do need to make maybe a slight change at tackle. I do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
At this, my thing is this. This has been going on. We saw this all of last season. We did. We saw this in the SEC championship. We did. We've seen it for the first 3 weeks now. Something's got to change, bro. Because if it doesn't, I'm just telling you what I've seen. I've seen my NFL quarterback get hurt this way. I've seen it happen. I've seen it, and I've seen it happen multiple times with the same quarterback. Same quarterback, same tackle. You got to make a change. You got to make a change. Because if we don't, I'm going to tell you, if we don't, we're not beating Bama, bro. I'm going to be honest.
They've got dudes.
It has to happen.
I'm going to do this too. To be fair, number 11 for Kentucky, arguably the best game I guarantee the best game he's ever played at Kentucky. He was killing it. Absolutely killing it. He was wreaking havoc off the edge, which leads me to the last thing on the offensive tackles and stuff and the offensive line blocking. They've got to do better. And I guarantee you they're hearing it right now. So what we're saying might be getting reiterated to a certain degree. I don't know. Just saying. I guarantee they're going through tape and rewatching things because that was one of those games. Kirby knew there was a bunch of shit to fix, and I think he enjoys that. He was giddy, if you will, after that post game. But he was ready. He was like, hey, I tried to tell you. Now we got stuff to fix. But at the same time, I'm looking at it this way. I came on here when we got this player, I felt extremely confident on what we were getting as a player. But it, to me, is apparent through 3 games that I have been bamboozled. I've been led astray. Because Ben Yurosek, the game is too much fast for him.
Yeah, he's not an SEC tight end.
It gives me this feeling. It gives me that feeling. Well, on the first couple, I think on the first drive, you see back-to-back plays, whiffing on the block on the outside, missing blocks, allowing us to go into 3rd and 15 situations, and then that same possession, that same drive on 3rd and 15, Carson has a bad snap. It's a bad snap. The ball hits the ground. Talk about terrible execution. That's part of it. But the reason why we're 3rd and 15 right in our own end zone is because 2 missed blocks. You sustain those blocks, you're looking at a good shot. That could have been a huge play, by the way. But it wasn't just that. It was throughout the game. You're looking at Oscar Delp missing on some blocks. You're missing receivers, like all these things. Like Arian Smith, there was a play tunnel screen. The Arian Smith, if the blocks were sustained, gone.
There was nobody else on that side.
Oscar Delp misses the block. The player gets outside of him, jumps back in, strips Arian Smith, and fortunately, Delp is there to jump on the ball. It's things like this that show you that it makes you feel as if they went through the motions, but I'm not going to discredit Kentucky by saying that because I don't think so. I think they just shut shit down. I'd say 60 to 70% of it was them just being better prepared. That's what it feels like. And that's part of the bad. Now, I want to transition to the ugly, Keon. Goddamn officiating.
Horrible.
Shit is horrible.
Horrible. So let me jump in on this, and this is what I tried to bring up earlier. Jalen Walker, walk dog, goes in for a sack, hits the quarterback soon as the ball gets off of his hand.
Ball's in his hand.
Oh, it's no, you're right. Yeah.
Ball's in his hand, still in motion.
Still in motion. He hits him. He pulls that ball back. That's a sack. He hits the ground. Unnecessary roughness?
It was roughing the passer.
I'm sorry. Roughing the passer. What are you doing there? What is he supposed to do? If college football is about to turn into flag football, let me know. Tell these guys, get out of the pads. Let's just run this shit in shells. Horrible officiating.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, Jalen Walker was fucking bleeding by the end of the game. I'm telling you, I genuinely think there were some holds and shit that they were not calling. I guess the fact of the matter was they were being consistently bad. I would rather take being consistently bad than inconsistent. But I don't know what else Jalen Walker was supposed to do there. I genuinely don't know. Hit him.
I don't know.
Form tackle. First off, form tackle. Form tackle. It wasn't just a cheap shot hit. It wasn't helmet to your chin. Form tackle. Helmet, chest. Boom. Wrap around. Boom. Tried to even turn around so that he didn't land on the quarterback. Right? All 3 things that they look for. Right? Ball's still in his fucking hand. About to let go. What are you supposed to do? Also, you think it's bad in our game? Guys, the Florida Texas A&M game, the dude got ejected for targeting when he was in the air and hit him low, like right around his thigh. They called that targeting. This shit's got to get fixed. And I don't see these incompetent fucking refs getting it fixed. So you've got to figure something out. Honestly, it starts with accountability. And I think the refs are empowered to make these calls because there's no repercussion of their actions.
100%.
I've seen, and it's not just this game. It's not the Georgia-Kentucky game. I saw
it was multiple games. It was multiple games this week.
Hold on. Yes, I've genuinely seen people outside of the Georgia fan base, our rivals, they're fans of our rivals, saying, what is he supposed to do? When that is a collective thought, it tells you, it speaks volumes. It does.
Got
So I'm
gotta get
telling you right now,
involved, Sankey. Gotta get involved.
no, it's not even that. I think it's higher than that, dude, because it's happened everywhere else too. Through 3 games, 4 weeks, dude, there's been horrible officiating almost every fucking week, and that should not be the case. But here we are going into week 4, and I guarantee you a game this upcoming week is going to get decided because of a bullshit call. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's the ugliest thing about the sport right now. Sure, it happened in our game, so obviously it gets the ugly factor. I'm telling you right now, it is killing the fucking sport. What is a defender supposed to do? If what we saw with Jalen Walker is roughing the passer, you genuinely cannot hit the damn quarterback if that's the case. You just can't. So get ready, Powder Puffly, because it's coming. It's coming. Unless the fucking refs and the high ups fix the shit. But I can't trust them. I can't trust them like a wet fart, Keon. Can't do it. Because they ain't done shit about it. And they won't do shit about it. I rest my case on that. Rudes says he thinks, in regards to Georgia game, thinks it was complacency after the last 2 performances. Kirby tried to warn them. These guys can still fight. Said they wouldn't listen all week. Yeah, he does. That's a very good point. We've said this before. Kentucky is a scrappy team. They're very well coached. They're a veteran team. You can't take them lightly. I thought we just had way more talent. This is what happens when you overlook or you overthink a performance the week before, because they looked horrible at home to a South Carolina team. Now, to be fair, that South Carolina team did give LSU one hell of a fight. However, that's not the topic of conversation. I think there was some complacency there. Guys just didn't look ready. They didn't look motivated. Some of them did, but it's a team effort. It's not a singular effort.
Guys didn't look prepared. That's another thing. I didn't think the will was. I don't think that the will was there at all.
The miscommunications, the misidentifications, all these different things. It just is not Georgia football. Like, I'm glad it's out of the way. Is this the 22 Missouri game? I hope it is. You can't let that shit continue though, especially with Bama on the back end of this bye week, because you'll go in there and you'll fucking get a huge L dropped on your ass if you do.
Yeah, for sure.
Hightower said ref screwed South Carolina. That might be worth talking about later, for sure. Anything else you want to talk about on the good, the bad, the ugly, Keon? Did we miss anything?
No, that's it.
There you go. Let's transition over to – I want to do this. Let's talk about the steps to success. All right, it's a little quick segment here. Steps to success. In this segment, Keon, we're going to give the audience the steps to success for Georgia. How did Georgia win this game? All right, and I'll start it off by this one. I genuinely think tempo on that offensive drive where we scored with Branson Robinson, going tempo there gassed them enough to get us chunk plays down the field.
Absolutely.
Would you agree to that?
Absolutely.
So I think if you notice, we had ETN moving the ball. I thought he broke it to the house, though. I thought that was a house call, and he got it at the 11. I really did.
You. See, here's what I think is going to end up happening going down the stretch of this season. I think ETN is finna start having some house calls, man. I don't think we're far away from it.
Could have easily had I want you to understand, with the right blocking, he could have had like a 91-yard shot, dude. If you look at the tape, the potential was there.
The setup was, and I think as we move down the line, I mean, and yet again, I don't want to just brush this game off because this is tape for those guys to go back out there and look at and improve on, but it's definitely tape that we can't see anymore moving forward. Because from here on out, that schedule gets more hectic. The teams get more. The teams get better. You really can't afford to not have your foot on the gas every single drive offensively. So, and even that, I gotta look at Bobo. Like, man, look, I'm not a Bobo hater. I'm not. But I do feel like there were points in that game where the play calling did get bland. Now, some will say that could be Kirby's influence on that, wanting to see what the defense can truly do. But whether it is or it's not, gotta start dialing up those deep shots. Carson, you gotta improve on the deep ball, man.
It's not a fact of him calling a deep shot. He's got to be more efficient on that. That's something he's got to work on.
Yeah,
like at this point in time, you're starting to wonder to yourself, can he connect on that? Dude, if you're trying to play on Sundays consistently, you've got to make those shots.
You have to.
I think everybody's gonna look at that deep crossing route and just look at it and be like, damn, that could have been a big hitter, right? Because that would have easily changed the momentum of that game. But
you flipped the field position. You absolutely
100%.
flipped the field position.
And I hate to do this, but when you play Bama and you play Texas and you play Ole Miss on the road, those plays right there will be the deciding factor whether you win or lose. I'm booking it.
Yeah, 100%.
If you don't connect all those in those games, that could easily be the deciding factor between a win and a loss coming out of that game, out of those games, I should say. Anyways, getting back to it, Keon, I will say this, and before I get back onto the steps to success, I'm not going to sit here and say it was all on Bobo. There were times where you felt like there should have been some different things, but I think first I'm going to give it two different factors here outside of Bobo. One, Kentucky had a good fucking game plan, and you can't take that away from them. You cannot take that away from them.
They did.
They had an excellent fucking game plan. And two, execution, lack thereof. There were several plays that were open by what they were giving you. First off, Kentucky did an excellent fucking job on the back end disguising coverages. They really did. They were able to wait till the very last second to roll in from a quarters to a cover 3 or cover 2, whatever disguises they wanted to do. They waited to the last minute. And that is confusing for any quarterback, right? You see this in the NFL. Keon, you're an NFL guy. The best defenses will be able to sit there and roll coverages at the very last second, right? But I give props to Bobo. I'm going to give props to Bobo when people want to shit on this guy. You called a good game plan. Now, there were some miscues. I'm going to give you that right there. But there was other times where, by default, there were plays that were open that didn't hit. Guys were missing blocks.
Yeah, it's a cumulative thing. But I do think
this game is not all on Bobo.
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is,
Keon, I'm just telling people that want to put this all on Bobo.
No.
He's not the scapegoat. He's not the scapegoat.
Yeah, that's a fact. Because I've been hearing a lot of that, whether that be in group chats, no, man, you can't just blame Bobo for the way how this game went. Because there were plays where Bobo done dialed some shit up. But guess what? The offensive line wasn't making the hold on the block. They weren't making their blocks, so Carson didn't have time. He had to hurry up and hit the check down. And in them situations, you had this guy who was streaking across the field and nobody was back there. But that shit doesn't matter if he doesn't have the opportunity to get the ball. So, it's
another. So let's get back into it, Keon. Let's do the step success. So I talked about the tempo, right? That was the first on that touchdown drive, the tempo, right? Moving forward a little bit, right? Georgia's got the lead, right? 13. Now we're looking at 13-12 at this point, right? Georgia's trying to run the clock out, and Oscar Delp fumbles the ball. The next step to success, awareness, field presence, and awareness. Arian Smith made probably the best play of the night because by way of recovering a fumble for a first down.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, field presence and awareness is the second step to success, right? You looked at tempo. Now you're looking at field awareness and presence, right? I genuinely thought that now I love it. Anybody thinks that Kirby Smart lost his edge, needs to go back and watch that TV tape because Buddy was ripping people a new asshole the whole night. The whole
Well
night.
deserved. Well deserved, by the
Fair
way.
point. Fair
I
point.
mean,
Let's just do this. I want to say this too. Keon, do you have any steps to success? What you saw helped us win this game?
uh, just I mean, the defense, the team locking in at the right point. When everything got hectic, when everything came down to the wire.
So you're saying bend don't break? Are you looking at that motto or
Yeah,
resiliency?
resilience is really the biggest thing. But yeah, the guys were resilient, and I've said that before, but it really stuck out tonight. It
I'll
really
look at
stuck
another
out.
one. I'm gonna look at another one. While it wasn't as abundant as I wanted to see, the fourth one, Havoc. Jalen Walker, by the way, more so than anything, right? But also keep in mind, Braylon Wilson, dude. This is the first time we talked about Braylon Wilson. I want you to understand on that forced fumble that Damon picked up. I hope everybody saw just how fast Braylon Wilson closed in on Brock Vandegrift because that shit looked like he looked like a bullet coming out of a barrel.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
He came out. He closed so fast. It was insane. But Havoc, in regards to that play specifically, I wanted to bring that up. But then obviously Jalen Walker, right? Tyrion Ingram Dawkins in the backfield. All these things like that. Creating havoc, slowing down, things like that too. I thought that helped. Obviously, to add to your resiliency factor as well, right? Listen, Georgia's defense could have played better because you could have. There were missed tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Those negative. Hold on.
Yep. But I mean, the opportunity was there. I mean, I think that is something that we gotta capitalize on. But you're right, Raylan Wilson. I mean, dude, I'm already seeing some of the things come together for what the game plan might be when it comes to facing Bama and Jalen Milroe being more of he's a mobile quarterback. So I think we're gonna have Raylan spying, and if so, man, shit, that's gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
interesting.
But he closes so fast without over pursuing. I think that's the key. Root says, I love this one. Root says passion. Play like your hair is on fire.
Yeah,
I really want to see that more consistently, right? There were players that did this. And the crazy thing is it was coming from guys that played a ton of snaps. That's the crazy thing. Like, there's other guys that I thought played really well, but they could have been better at times too. Rudes also said the Stackhouse deck BVG a few times. Yeah, they were getting at it, but it wasn't enough. They were letting him scramble out to the right, and I thought that should have been fixed.
no, I definitely agree with you there.
Henry Dion, thanks for the comment saying Henry's main takeaway from the game was that it was a win. All right, now we put it behind us, fix what needs fixing, go to Tuscaloosa and get another one. Yeah, that's 100% right. I think that's the mentality. But I think you do need to take away from this. Right? There's some things that you have to take away from this game. You just do. So that's where I'm at with that. Keon, so we did our steps to success. Were there anything else that we may have missed?
No, I think that was it.
Closure. I'm going to say closure. Right? What I mean by closure, finishing a drive. Right? Finishing a drive. Felt good to finish that, get Branson in there. Ultimate hot mic, by the way. It was hilarious, and I loved it. I can't say what he said.
Yeah, no, not at all.
If you're watching, you understand.
Mm-mm.
But can't repeat what my man said. I thought it was epic, though. Thought it was good. Perfect hot mic. Better than Kirby hot mics, arguably.
Yeah.
Arguably. But now the closure. And then, obviously, when you move that to the defensive side of the ball, right, getting off the field, right, making sure that they settle for 3, or in the case of the last drive, make them punt the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Julian Humphrey closing in, making big plays on crucial third downs that got them boys off the field. That is something that stuck out to me, and I'll say that fits into that closure range. along with Jalen Walker out there making plays and making shit difficult
Yeah.
for BG.
Yeah, well, the whole Kentucky offense tried to, right? Nobody. Well, the good thing is too, the resiliency and the havoc also didn't allow Kentucky's offense to get chunk plays. If you notice,
Yeah,
they were 2 plays, 3 plays, get the first down. It was sustaining the drives, but they weren't chunk plays and explosives. I tell you right now, the team in Tuscaloosa, yeah, they're going to hit you with explosives if you're not careful.
yeah,
By default, they're going to get you on a couple. I guarantee it. So you got to be able to do that. But Georgia's got to capitalize on explosive plays. You have to be able to sustain your block. You have to be able to hit that pass. You have to be able to create separation. You have to do these things to be able to be successful, especially when you're looking at those games on the road. Tuscaloosa, game in Austin, Ole Miss, maybe is not as much, but I still think you're going to have to do it anyway. Just what's going to have to happen. So, yeah, so that's our key. Those are our steps to success. I hope you like that segment. Let us know about that. See what you think. Keon, I want to ask you this before we move on. We've talked about injury reports with Tate Ratledge. I think Beck is doing all right with his shoulder. Scary landing there, getting up gingerly. Outside of Tate Ratledge, I think for the most part, did anything kind of stick out to you, kind of concern you when it came down to injuries this game?
No, anybody else that got injured came back in and played. So if they were able to come back in and play, hey man, ain't shit. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I think obviously outside of Tate Ratledge, everybody was freaking out about that, and obviously so because that's your starting right guard. I understand. All right,
But
I do.
Michael Morris, your time to shine, my man.
Absolutely. I do need to see more effort from him,
Mm-hmm.
and just go from there. Keon, before we move on before we put this game to bed, I want to ask this question, and I want to ask this question to the chat, the live viewers as well. Could Saturday's game be viewed as a blessing in disguise for the Georgia football program, for the football team, I
Absolutely.
should say?
Absolutely. And I think it's the game that Kirby Smart always wanted, in a sense of, what he says to the guys, what he says to the media, personified into 40 or 4 different quarters of just pure chaos. And you always hear him talk about staying calm throughout the chaos, and assume nothing. Don't assume just because you think that you're going to come in to a game with higher ranked players that it's going to be these guys on this other side of you are going to just roll over, because they didn't. Um, Kentucky came to play, and I'm gonna be all the way honest. I think not only the team, the coaches, but the fans for Kentucky should be very proud of that. Like, to be all the way honest, because to be all the way real, man, 2 things that happened on that final drive, if they don't go our way, I don't know if we sit here and say, "Oh man, that was a good scare," but let's get moving towards Bama. It'd be, "Oh man, we just lost to Kentucky on the road, and now we got to go on the road again to play Bama." Like, perception is everything. I think these guys came out there and balled and set a tone.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. I think this is 100% a blessing in disguise, because not only can you sit back and really look at what you just put on tape, you look at your areas of improvement, you make your adjustments, and it gives you some things to look at. It gives everybody the things to look at as far as the team goes. You get to work towards your goals as far as what type of tone you want to set going into the next game. And you also have an extra week in there for guys to get even more healthier than what they were, and to
Yeah.
come back and make an impact. I'm looking forward to seeing Warren Brinson, looking forward to seeing Mikal back out there wreaking havoc. I think it's going to do a lot for the defense.
Also, adding Jordan Hall back in there too. The interior will get we'll get a breather too. In theory, one thing that I want to say before I read these comments, because there's some good takes on that question. I I'm going to need Michael and Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins to be on the field together at the same time a lot. Because TID has played his ass off to the point where he deserves to be on the field, even with Michael back. So that may take away from Chaz Chambliss, but I'm okay with it because TID has been playing his ass off. And so as long as he's healthy, we've seen that he can play his ass off, and I'm not worried about it. I'm just not. I need to see that moving forward. In the meantime, I do want to take some comments here when we pose that question. I think Sunil set this off in a perfect way. So not sure if she'd call it a blessing, but it was for sure a wake-up call. And I think that's a very good point. Very good point. However, I think that wake-up call technically could be a blessing because of the complacency, or you know what I'm saying? And if you have that issue there, at the same time, if you have that issue of complacency, adversity forces people to step up and take leadership roles. And you need that. This team doesn't feel like they have a true leader, right? Like, yeah, it's so different. It really is. This team needs that leadership role, and no one's really assumed that yet.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually something that I saw that Brooks Austin spoke on about how there's no true bona fide, when live bullets are flying, shit hitting the fan, leader that's going to lead the team. There's guys that they think that are in position to do so. But I think these types of games, especially like going into the bye week, it sets the tone for guys to be those leaders that are on that team, that are in those different position rooms, to, it gives them the opportunity for them to step into that role completely. And that's something that I think that we're going to fully utilize moving forward.
I think so too. But the thing is too, Keon, you're going to need guys to step up and be leaders and assume these leadership roles by choice, not by force. If you heard a lot of these guys are in the offseason, it's like, and to your point with Brooks bringing it up, he also said the same thing. Like if you listen to Cedric, or not Cedric, but like if you listen to some of these guys talking about now that Cedric's gone, I guess somebody's got to step up and do it, right? Like now I got to do it because he's gone. Like you need that leadership thing, right? Because I guarantee you the off-field issues that everybody wants to harp and shit on us about would get fixed if you had the right leadership in that locker room. I'm saying I think that would genuinely help the cause, if you will.
100%.
Jeff also says the best thing that could have happened to us was squeaking by with a win and falling to number 2 in the AP poll. That's motivation if you ever need it.
Praise God, because man.
Yeah. Keon, let's do this. Let's get into some segments here. But before we do that, we got to make sure that, guys, if you have not already, do yourself a favor. Please do yourself a favor, right? Go check out our friends over at Alumni Hall, right? The show, one of our sponsors here. Guys, it's football time in Athens, right? With that being said, whenever you're in the Classic City, whether it be game day or not, stop by Alumni Hall and get yourself geared up for game day, whether it be in the comfort of your own home or at that good-ass tailgate in the Classic City, right? Get yourself geared up for game day. They got polos, they got shirts, they got jerseys. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to do something at your house, guys, get your stuff, get ready for your grill, get you some nice little drinkware accessories, right? Kids went back to school. Oh, their book bag messed up. They got book bags and everything too. Anything you need, Alumni Hall's got it. Make sure to do yourself a favor. Mention the DGD podcast when you go in stores, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. So make sure you go to Alumni Hall while you're in Athens, or you can go to dgdpodcast.com. Go to our website, dgdpodcast.com. Shop Alumni Hall using our website, and 8% will go to the Classic City Collective. You won't get the 10% off, but 8% of your entire order will go to the Classic City Collective. And with that being said, you're helping them dogs, and you're getting geared up for game day. What better way to do it than by shopping with our friends over at Alumni Hall? Keon, buddy, it's time for this. All right. It's time for the over-unders. All right, so over-unders. Pretty rough outing. Well, not necessarily pretty rough outing. I don't have the graphic for it, but I'm going to read off what I got. So, Keon, you went 2-3. 2-3. So so if you remember, if you recall, if you don't, we don't have the graphic for it, but all five were touchdowns, right? All five were touchdowns.
Yep.
So you had Trevor Etienne, Nate Frazier, Branson Robinson, all were set at 0.5 rushing touchdowns, while Dominic Lovett and Dylan Bell were set at 0.5 receiving yards. So I'm setting the preface, I'm setting it up for where we are with this. Keon, you went 2-3. You had the over for ETN, you had the under for Frazier. Right? You had the over for Branson. That was your winner right there. You had the over, and you had the over for Lovett and Bell. Guys, this is how confident we were. All right, surprise, surprise.
Man.
So ultimately, the Nate Frazier hit and your Branson hit. Dan went 3-2 as well, or Dan went 3-2. Excuse me. Dan went 3-2. Missed ETN, hit Frazier, hit Branson, hit Dominic Lovett with the under. I went 3-2 as well. I hit on Branson, Lovett, and Bell. I hit the unders on those two, and then Branson, obviously. Kobe went, I don't know how to make, I forgot if, I don't even know if he, don't even know if he didn't answer on one, but he went either 2 or 3, maybe. So
we'll call it that. We'll call it that.
Well, for some reason, he brought up Nate Frazier again. I don't remember if he actually dropped a prediction. So either way, Dan and myself lead the way through that. For that. Now, at the same time, while we're here, we're going to get to our DGD Pick'em recap, all right, for week 3. And then we're going to wrap the show off with Your Team is Trash. So wait a minute. Stick around. It's about to get fun. Keon, first things first, I'm going to pop this graphic up. We're going to talk through the Pick'em here. All right. So here's where the games for week 3. You had A&M in Florida. Dan picked Florida. Boy, was he wrong. Dan, I can't help you on that one, buddy. I don't know what you were thinking. Everyone got the clean sweep with Missouri. Hey, your boy called Pitt to win, and I put it on a money line, right? Told people to put that on. I think it was on a no, maybe. I don't remember if I did or not. However, Pitt wins backyard brawl. Brigade went with me. They stuck it out, and we reaped the rewards of that clean sweep for Oklahoma. Kobe was a lone wolf for Washington State. And he ends up pulling that out. Washington State beats on Washington. But however, he flipped with his Pac-2, and Oregon destroys Oregon State. This hurt my feelings, Keon. Arizona, Kansas State, I just knew was going to be a high-scoring game, and it was not. It was actually a blowout. Kansas State pulled away, just dominated Arizona. So you and Juan got to sit there and take that L on that one. Clean sweep for Alabama, clean sweep for Georgia, clean sweep for LSU, even though we were sweating that game. Sweating it. So for locks and upsets, Dan's lock was Oklahoma. That hit. And upset alert was A&M. Did not hit. He had A&M on upset alert. They dominated Florida, period. Kobe had Texas easy lock. I had Ole Miss easy lock. So much so, we'll talk about this in just a second. Upset alert for Kobe, Eastern Michigan. I had upset alert for UCF. TCU did not win, but they lost within reason, which leads us to the Pick'em standings. Oh, that is not the right graphic. My bad, folks. Let's do this. Either way. What were your thoughts on what were your takeaways for that game? For those
are we all even now?
No, I've got to pull it up. I hit the wrong thing. Excuse me.
Oh.
No. While I pull it up, how were you feeling about those games?
I knew I wasn't watching that West Virginia and Pitt game, so it just felt right. I knew that Texas A&M was beating the shit out of Florida. I just didn't think. So here's the thing, right? I took a nap before that game kicked off. Before that game kicked off, I took a nap. I woke up in the third quarter. It's fucking 6-20. They were beating the shit out of them. Oh my God. I mean, Florida, it couldn't have, you know what? Your downfall, Florida, it couldn't have happened to a better
Save
program.
it. Save it. Save it. We've got this.
Man.
We've got this. We've got this. All right, I've got the standings pulled up here. Okay. Dan is in the lead. 32-8 on the season so far with 40 points. He's leading in points. In second place, the Brigade, folks. You can thank Jaden for this. My son has picked perfectly so far on his game of the week. I'm just letting you know. All right. So the Brigade is 30-10 with 38 points. Keep in mind, for Jaden's game of the week, the Brigade, he picks for the Brigade and they get 3 points for a successful pick. He's picked perfectly so far. So you've got 3 points for 4 weeks. That's 12 points coming from a 6-year-old. Okay. I want that to be known. Good. There you go. So they're at 30-10, 38 points. Followed up by a tie right now between myself and Kobe. We are 29-11 with 33 points. I had an excellent week. 9-1 with a lock hit, covering the spread. And the upset didn't hit, but they didn't get beat by more than their spread. So I washed out that. So I got a 0, but I got the +2 on the lock. So I got 11 points this week. All right. After that, Juan is 28-12, 32 points. Keon, buddy, you were talking shit to me this past week because we were at the same spot. Sir, you were 27-13 with 29 points.
So to be fair, did not do the lock or upset. That is the difference maker.
Yeah, and guess what? You probably should have started doing it.
Yeah, no, I got you this week.
I'll take it.
I got you this week.
I'll take it. So there's your pick'em standings. Obviously, we don't have the graphic up, so apologize for that. But if you're listening, if you're paying attention, there's your rankings. Keon, sir, it's time to end this show on a good note. Folks, if you're not familiar with this segment, Keon, I want you to tell people what they're about to listen to. When I pull this graphic up for you.
You're going to listen to your team is trash and you having to deal with that. First team on the docket. Let's go on ahead and get a 0 in right quick. This is well deserved. Gotta say it. The University of Florida. Y'all are trash. And Hellcats is fast. And you have to deal with that. Look at this. I'm not gonna lie. The trauma, the bullshit, the anguish, the disappointment, the heartbreak, and the frustration that you Florida fans feel couldn't have happened to a better fan base, a more deserving fan base. For all of the shit that y'all were talking with that G5 Billy head of a head coach. I can't believe it. Not gonna lie to you. Horrible, horrible, horrible game planning. Another team that deserves it. Not gonna lie to you. FSU. The Florida State Cinnamon Rolls. You guys deserve the absolute most of your team is trash and you having to deal with that. From crying about not making the college football playoff to getting 63 put on your head top, okay, to shitting yourself on live television in Europe, to then getting dog walked by Boston College, to now, Mike Norvell, you returned to your old school in Memphis. You lost to the Memphis Mines. The Memphis Mines.
That trick. Oh, sorry. No?
That's exactly what they was doing for 4 quarters. They was beating the feathers off of you, motherfuckers. They was beating them.
Got the little cane. Beat him so bad, start looking around like, oh no. Horse fell over.
For four quarters,
man.
it was the trail of disappointment. Okay, this is horrible football. DJU.
Keon, I want you to understand something. I want you to understand that trail of disappointment, sir, hurts me a little bit because I got some Cherokee in me.
Oh man,
but it's worth it because they're fucking trash and they got to deal with it.
Bro, I'm telling you, the Florida, they are no longer the Seminoles. They are the Florida State Cinnamon Rolls because that shit is sweet over there. Okay,
I don't know about
horrible.
That. Florida State Seminoles. Keon, you can call them the Cinnamon Rolls. I'm gonna call them the Seminoles because
I mean, at the end of the day, they have been horrible this year.
You know what? Horrible. By the way, I want you got to do the good ones. All right, you get all the easy ones. Damn you get all the easy ones. Keon, the very end of the season, Florida and Florida State play in Tallahassee.
That shit's gonna be on Tubi.
That shit about to be on CW, ain't it? They about to flex it to the CW.
Bro. That game does not need to be televised. Put that shit on the radio.
That genuinely might be called the toilet bowl. 100%.
First team to 17 wins. Oh my God.
Boy, you being generous. Being generous.
I didn't want to say 10, but Jesus. That shit is horrible. That shit is ass.
For a whole lot of it too, like Rikishi said. A whole lot of ass. I will say this. I think honestly, for the sake of everyone involved, and I'm talking about us as fans watching football, the first person to score sudden death, just give it to him. Just give it to him. Please. Just give it to him. You talked about Florida, guys. If you haven't already known, you did so bad, but you were beat before the game, and I want to explain why. Because Billy Napier decides to start Graham Mertz instead of DJ Lagway, you cooked yourself. Because had you played Lagway and ride the momentum from Samford and he stunk it up, it's more forgiving than to play a quarterback that you have seen and everyone has seen cannot get it done so far this season, right? Or even back in the past. Like, he's just not that good of a quarterback. You're not a good team. But you start him when you've got momentum with Lagway, so you put him back on the bench. Then you get your shit pushed in for 4 quarters. Score be damned. You got your shit pushed in at home by Texas A&M. You did it to yourself. Now you're hurting my feelings because I want Billy Napier a lifetime contract because we would drop 50 on these motherfuckers every year. So you took a little bit of my thunder, Keon, but I had to come back with some more. That's okay. We storming right now. Keon, it's time for me to break out my 2 candidates. Okay,
take it away.
It's time for me to do this. All right. So we talked on Florida. We've talked on Florida State. Couldn't happen to 2 better fan bases. Okay. First things first. This is going to hit close to home for me. Wake Forest. The people have spoken. It might not even be your team is trash, more so than your program is trash. Let me explain. Keon, I got to do this. Wake Forest. How in the absolute fuck do you make the decision after getting your ass beat by Ole Miss? Ole Miss is a top 10 team in the SEC. How in the absolute fuck do you go and cancel the remaining home game, your part, to go to Ole Miss? You pay the fee. I think it's like $1 million. You pay the buyout fee so that you don't have to go down there next year. That right there is a bitch move. And I'm going to call that out because it deserves it. I understand Ole Miss is going to be right there, but in 2025, a lot of the team that Ole Miss has got right now won't be there. They won't be there. I'm never going to be okay with a Power 5 program up and just canceling another home and home like that on that regard. I just can't do it. So with that being said, Wake Forest, I want you to look straight into this camera and understand that your team is trash. The people have spoken. Your team is trash. Your program is trash, and you have to deal with that. Keon, there ain't much else I can say about it. I do not like that move.
No.
Do not like that move. And we're going to save this for last right here. And I want to preface this. I have faith in this team. Crazy enough. I have faith in this team, and I don't know why. And I think it's partially because of what I've seen so far this season. But Vanderbilt, the time has come. Your team is trash. The people have spoken, and now you have to deal with that. Listen, I was proud of you. You were 2-0. You'd already basically hit some overs almost on some people's over-under score or record predictions. Just going to let that be known. So I'm not mad about that. But Georgia State, I understand you're on the road, but Georgia State got beat. It's not a good look. Your schedule ain't going to get any easier. But this is maybe where I'm crazy, Keon, but I got a little bit of faith in Vanderbilt. I think they look like a decent team. They just got beat. They're not going to be great, but it's Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah, I do think they're going to be better than what they have been.
I had to ease this up a little bit, right? I get it. You lost to Georgia State, right? That's never good. That's a group of 5 team.
Shout outs to Dale McGee.
Yes, sir. Now, with that being said, it's Vanderbilt. Okay, I understand. Almost by default. But I'm here to tell you, we might be I'm going to speak for myself, Keon. You can speak on your behalf. I genuinely think there's still a shot for you to get to 6 wins. I do. So there's still hope. But you know who doesn't have any hope, Keon?
Florida.
And Florida State. Because y'all both a bag of smashed ass and the dookie juice at the down bottom of the trash can. Because y'all ain't shit. Both of you. And I hope the fan base is finding this. Whether it be Twitter or YouTube or whatever. Come debate us. Well, you know what? If there's any Florida fan or any Florida State fan, I'm giving an open invitation to come on here and sit here and talk to me and just, Keon, just tell us why Florida or Florida State is not trash. Okay? I'll give you a chance to defend yourself live on show. Just listen. If you think that your team is not trash, DM us. We ain't hard to find. DM us. And we'll bring you on the show and let you defend your case, defend your team, right? Put 10 toes down. Until then, I ain't trying to hear it from no fucking body that pulls for them Gators or Florida State. Because y'all both trash. Keon, any final thoughts? Is there anybody that you thought that might need to be put on that alert of being trash? Anybody close?
Wait a second. Is UCF undefeated?
UCF did beat TCU, yes.
So you telling me that UCF is a better team right now than Florida State and Florida?
So much as the record says, yes. However, I think the playing on the field tells me so, yes.
Yeah, y'all can't debate that shit. Y'all
and the best part,
fast.
Well, the best part about it, Florida still got to play UCF. So that'll be fun. So yeah, like I said, if you're a Florida fan, if you're a Florida State fan, come on the show. We'll give you listen. We'll let you talk and make your case why your team isn't trash. But until then, y'all just got to deal with it because y'all ain't defending it. I don't think you can defend it. A whole bucket of ass. Keon, I think that's enough for the night, sir. Moving on from Kentucky, guys, we're obviously in the bye week, so we're gonna come back with some fun topics here. I think we might have to do a first 3-game recap, quarter of the season recap, first quarter recap, Keon.
Yep.
I think that's time. So make sure, again, before we wrap this thing up, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, rate us, review us for listening. If you're listening, if you don't have access to this, guys, wherever you get your podcast, just give it a go. You can go find it. It's everywhere. So we ain't hard to find. We are not hard to find. Just not do it. And if you have any other questions, DGDpodcast.com will answer all your questions. By the way, guys, did you know the DGD podcast has merch now? Did you know? Just saying. Sleep on that, or have a good day after that. Keon, send us home, buddy. What? Any final thoughts? Any words of wisdom before we move on?
Throughout this dogfight, we still remain undefeated, and it is still dogs on top. Follow us. Let us know. Talk to us. If you think we missed a team and your team is trash and them having to deal with that, let us know.
We're always open for that.
I'm Podcast Poppy on Twitter with 2 eyes. My guy DGD Podcast, a.k.a. Rob, is where you can find him. You can let us know. If you think there was a rival team to you that wasn't in the your team is trash, let us know. But, I mean, it's dogs on top. We found a way to win. While people are still fighting for wins, we found one. There's nothing else we can say.
There is one thing, we're going to send you off with this. It's always, go dogs.
Go dogs.